everybody, my name is Jika, I'm joined by Black Bloxer, and welcome to British Esports Student Champs Nationals. How's it going, Max?
Good, really good. Excited to be doing some more student esports. Usually I'm doing the university side, so, excited to see even more of this kind of thing, and yeah, it should be a really good time.
I'm definitely excited for it. We'll be seeing draft number 1 very shortly. Today's games, we are seeing the Blackbird Lays Buccaneers go up against Confetti Arrows. And I'm going to be honest, I'm excited to see how this game goes, because we're on a new patch.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this patch, really.
No.
And we've just been hit with all of the preseason changes under the sun.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's call it interesting. Things have really been moved around. Of course, we're not going to be getting all of these really big and exciting changes that we've been seeing until the actual preseason, so at this point, things should probably be relatively similar, tanks, bruisers in the top lane, something that can really deal your damage mid and bot. It's the standard meta that we've known and loved for quite a while.
It is indeed. Now, we have also just had the Riot ID changes come through, so if you're seeing hashtags at the top of the champ select, that is why. Everybody's Riot ID is now their summoner name. So we start to make our way through the ban phase, and nothing really meta being taken away here, interestingly enough.
No, the only thing that possibly could be counted as meta is that Caitlyn has been floating around recently. She's pretty strong with a couple of new builds. Lethality Caitlyn was insane for a little while, but yeah, both of these seem to be more pocket picks for people, and that definitely is a pocket pick. Riven is a pretty insane thing to first pick for yourself, but then again, if you think that you're a really good Riven player, we've seen plenty of players take over with that, so, I like it.
It's a lot of confidence to pick it this early, with how many matchups make that champion cry in a corner. You rely so heavily on things like animation cancels to play the champion effectively. It shows confidence, and I don't know whether to be terrified or intrigued.
I think intrigued. I think at this level, intrigued is definitely the way forwards, because you can have these little pocket picks and pull them out and really take over a game. Hecarim being locked in here, pretty standard jungler for what we're expecting. Set into Riven. I mean, you said there's a lot of matchups that can kind of make a Riven cry. This isn't really one of them. You're mainly worried about things that can stop dashes, the Urgots, the Poppies, that kind of thing. Set, yeah, he's not exactly that.
I mean, you do have the Facebreaker to try and stop it to a degree, but you are relying quite heavily on Haymaker and Showstopper to really punish this Riven, so it's going to be interesting to see how the early lane goes. Briar and Nivea immediately then locked.
Yeah, Briar has not been seeing any pro play. Obviously, we've kind of come out of the time when we would have seen that. Patches stopping for Worlds, so don't really know what the actual competitive meta is like for Briar. She's very individual focused, need to get ahead early, otherwise she can feel pretty bad, but in those early 1v1 skirmishes, she's incredibly strong. Hecarim, though, doesn't do too badly for himself in those 1v1s usually. I think he's going to lose this one up against the Briar, but you can sometimes gank more effectively as a Hecarim, especially once you get that level 6. You don't have a skill shot that you're relying on to be your main engage during a team fight. I would like to see some more engage, to build around that Briar, and Riven and Anivia, they're not exactly that.
No, not necessarily, and I think another big problem about Briar is the nuance of how the taunt goes, right? This is one idea that's not really ever worked in the favor of this champion, because you can randomly latch to a minion or a monster or a different target. It's very hard to try and properly control. But this would be interesting.
I mean, incredibly interesting. You've got a Lux already, could well be a Lux mid, of course, but if you are putting it in the support, you can get a lot of poke done. Lux Twitch would be pretty horrible to deal with, especially for something as short-ranged as Lucian. I'll have to see
Which was
if
just
that...
slammed.
Yes, was immediately locked in. You have to imagine. I mean, that's a really good bot lane combo. If it is Lux Twitch, then I don't love its chances. Being able to step up to the wave is going to be pretty difficult, but of course, Lux could still be mid into an Anivia range matchup. Plenty of options for a solo kill. Twitch Lulu, I think that makes this bot lane a lot more playable for the Lucian Thresh, but once you get to those late game team fights, the Twitch can be in a position to really pop off.
You're also looking quite heavily at this idea of Twitch is just going to go invisible level 2, suddenly appear on top of Lucian's face, have picks firing past. It's going to be really weird to try and play this lane early, because while you do have the kill pressure as Lucian Thresh, you are relying on not getting caught by the stealth.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see just how this ends up playing out. But
Yeah,
overall, what's your feelings on the comps? Because I'm not sure how I feel.
This is really not standard for what we are, usually expecting. We end up talking about a lot of League of Legends where you have very standard compositions. This is certainly not that. Riven into Set, Riven should still be favoured in that matchup. Could well just be an island up in the top lane, but if the Riven manages to pop off, get a couple of kills, and turn that into a big lead, you can turn that into good team fighting potentially, or a really strong split push. If we take a look at that mid lane matchup, long range, burst kind of mages, control mages, there is a lot of potential for solo kills, and also a lot of potential for gank setup. Both of these champions could really effectively set up a gank, and are also a level of immobile that makes them pretty attractive targets for junglers or possibly roaming supports to get involved with. Bot lane could be a bloodbath, honestly. You're really relying on Thresh hitting those hooks, but more than anything, sitting back and just trying to add a layer of safety for the Lucian, because Twitch scales incredibly well, but has sneaky amounts of poke during the early game. Still, though, the all-in potential is absolutely there for that Lucian Thresh.
Yeah, and you can't step even slightly out of line in this lane. I mean, you do get jumped on pretty quickly as Twitch Lulu, and you are relying quite heavily on a Hecarim to come around the corner and bail you out if this Lucian does manage to get close enough to you to burn you down with the Piercing Light, the Ardent Blaze, and the Culling. And then you're still trying to dodge things like the Death Sentence. You're trying to play around this idea of the Lantern. You're playing around Flare. You're playing around the box. It becomes really hard to play a small area, which is what Twitch and Lulu want to do. They want to hold their ground and just fire.
However, Lulu with a polymorph into this composition, I really like that. I love the idea of having polymorph, especially into the Briar, because Briar is all in all the time. You go flying in, you're unhinged, targeted straight onto a champion, no control over it, and then you're polymorphed. Yeah, that's a recipe for absolute disaster. Interesting to see what the build out of this Briar is going to be as well, because if you go the slightly tankier build, you are more likely to be able to survive through a polymorph, but then obviously you lose a lot of that execution that you would otherwise have. Whereas if you go for that full-blown damage build, one polymorph probably spells the end, but if you do get onto the correct target, manage to assassinate the Twitch or the Lux in the backline, that can completely unbalance a team fight. A lot's going to be on landing that ultimate as well. But overall, when I'm looking at these compositions in terms of just pure team fighting, it's really hard. Neither of these team compositions really seem like they want to just straight up 5v5. I would slightly favour it over towards the Hecarims and the Sets of the world, but also a well-placed Anivia wall could really stop a lot of that engage potential.
Absolutely. I mean, if we you take a look at what these champions want to do in isolation. Riven, one of these backline divers, same with Briar, they want to be looking to assassinate. Anivia, very, very good at controlling an area, can stop you from getting to where you need to be very effectively, and it does a lot of burst damage with that initial combo because of the Frostbite buffs. And then you're looking at Lucian Thresh, also very good at holding an area, but very good at assassinating one target once the CC lands. Lucian is going to see a target get CC'd, pop. They're probably already dead. But on the flip side, you're looking at Set Hecarim. Very good at gaining access to the backline through the front line, rather than flanking round. You're looking at Lux, a very good burst mage. She catches Lucian, she catches Anivia. They're probably dead on the spot. And then Twitch Lulu, very safe scaling bot lane that if they don't get punished in this early game, will be able to rule the game with a front line of Hecarim and Set. So, there is in terms of identity, there is a lot of differences in the champions inter-team, but when you put them 5v5, it's probably going to lead to something very similar that we normally see, which is you've got one team wanting to snowball, you've got another team who's happy to sit and scale.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a really interesting one to watch, and I think there's a lot of scope for individual outplay. Does the Riven pop off? Is this a really good Briar? Because I'm sure you've all watched it in your solo queue games. A good Briar, and you've just lost the game if it's up against you, or it carries you to victory. A bad Briar, you're just watching that ult just sail wide, nowhere nearby, every time. She's gone jumping in.
It flew through my window!
she's gone jumping in and she's dead. And that's
Fair.
obviously a possibility with the polymorph, but it just leaves a lot of potential to really find those individual plays. We haven't spoken too much about it, but Lux, can we get some steals onto some objectives? That would be really exciting. Or just, also pop a champion. That light binding is sneaky annoying when you are trying to run around in a big team fight and you can't really keep track of things. It's very sparkly, very brightly coloured. You can lose it in a team fight very easily. The second you get snagged, you're also snagging somebody behind you. Yeah, you can spell the absolute end.
And welcome into the game, everybody. We have the Buccaneers on blue side and confetti arrows on the red. We shall see just how this game starts, but I'm expecting a standard cover. Max, can you let us know why standard cover is so important?
You don't want to get invaded, especially when you're up against something like a Hecarim. Briar, level 1, she does not have any real power for herself. Her only real ability is to go flying in, and with no ability to get herself to stop doing that, you can just get popped. And also, most teams, most of the time, without that top level of coordination, don't want to go for an invade unless it's blindingly obvious that you're going to have the better composition.
Exactly. This is interesting. That is absolutely the case, especially in a game like this. Now, the real question that I have is what lane do you want to talk about, or watch rather? What lane do you want to keep an eye on in this early game?
Or it's so tempting to say top lane. Anytime that there's a Riven around, that's also a Riven with Conqueror and Ignite, so gonna be looking to get aggressive. Oh, and also the set has Conqueror and Ignite, so both of these top laners gonna be wanting to get really aggressive. But that feels a little bit too much of a standard answer. I think potentially this bot lane could be a really explosive lane if we end up seeing these supports play it correctly, stepping up, trying to get aggressive. There are ignites on both of these bot laners as well, and so there's so much potential for just all in. Full go in as the Lucian. You can 100 to 0 a Twitch or a Lulu pretty easily, but you just have to be careful. Play around that polymorph, make sure you're watching those cooldowns, and as Mimic, you gotta be hitting those hooks.
That's an electrocute Lucian.
That is an electrocute Lucian.
That's interesting.
It is indeed an electrocute Lucian.
So, to clarify for those at home, electrocute is not typically the rune we see on Lucian. It's not a rune we really see on AD carries at all. The rune is very good at bursting down targets, but AD carries are normally your consistent damage dealers, as it looks like Briar looking for something in the mid lane. But as you mentioned earlier, that light binding just a bit of a pain in the backside.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to go that aggressive top lane. People are getting really low, like we said they would. This is well within range. Okay,
Egg.
Egg
Egg.
already popped, and Amaryllis has not had to use any summoner spells to be able to do so. That was just a full 100 to 0 kill straight up, as Mouse has to just flash there. As does Mimic. That was nice. That was really well played out of Napalm up in the top lane. And we said there was a lot of potential for individual outplay. Comes from the set. Both summoners blown from these top laners, leaving them really vulnerable to ganks. You can see that's already been understood. Can the Briar get involved here?
We now have GBC moving up, but bot lane. Okay, flash coming out from GBC means Napalm is going very low. Is healing up from the grit stacks, though. It's a fight you need to be very careful taking. You don't have Haymaker. Meanwhile, Amaryllis kills Nico in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, it's an incredibly explosive early game. We can see kills in the top. Some of the spells were blown in the bot lane. Yeah, Amaryllis now managing to pick themselves up that solo kill. Getting an early solo kill on an Anivia is so difficult. She's got that egg form, a second life, a second chance, and to just be able to, great minds think alike, to be able to just avoid that and get straight through in that situation, get that solo kill, that is absolutely huge, and it does leave quite a lot of power right here onto those confetti arrows. They've picked themselves up solo kills in their solo lanes, which can always be huge. Already having to use that Haymaker is Napalm, and they're getting chunked down super aggressively right now.
They are, and it's kind of what we expected out of this matchup to begin with. It's a little bit of bullying coming through from the Riven. But we'll have to see. And it looks like the junglers agreed with you at the start of the game. Top and bot were the most interesting lanes. They mirrored their path. And Napalm looking for something onto Despair. And
Oh,
it
they
is just
get it!
another solo kill.
Yeah, this is a situation where, unfortunately, Cosmic Despair seems to be trying to do Riven things. You know, you've all seen it. We've seen Rivens and Veins just try to do their thing in solo queue games, and sometimes it works. Other times, however, it does not, and this is, unfortunately, one of those times. You've now given over 2 kills onto this set. Going to be super powerful. Big gank.
A catch onto Amaryllis, and now
That
the Berserk
damage.
goes wild. It's a lot of damage. But everything is now on cooldown. Can't quite land the knockback, and we'll just have to walk away. The problem is, there's a kill onto Mimic in the bot lane.
Yeah, this
And
is going from bad
GBC
to
manages to kill
worse.
Amaryllis mid. Okay.
So, we have got a very interesting situation right here, where all of the lanes are going very much in the favour of the confetti arrows. However, the Buccaneers have a very strong jungler at this point. 2 quick kills onto a Briar. Only got that axe. That's not that much damage in the inventory, but just making it work right now. And a strong Briar can absolutely take over a game, so you need to be careful right now as confetti arrows not to get too aggressive. And again...
Okay, the snipe comes through, manages to land onto Nico, and now GBC very, very low. Blade is here as well. The light binding lands, and it's good night, Briar. Meanwhile, in the top lane, just a bit of trading coming through in favor of Napalm, while the wave is in the middle of nowhere, seemingly.
That's a really impactful kill, because during all of that time that we saw this Briar, that we saw God moving around trying to get those kills done, Lewis was perfectly happy. Tried to get a gank onto bot lane, didn't really work, and instead has just been farming up. Now has got themselves about a 10 CS lead, which 6.5 minutes into the game is pretty huge. Going to turn this into a Drake as well. Is on full vision. Briar on the way over. Got a smite up and available, so could try for something. There isn't a blast plant or a flash, though, so it would be a long walk around. Slow Drake take.
You can jump that wall? Apparently you can jump that wall, as now GBC and the rest of the Buccaneers have arrived. Lewis Blade is dead, and the dragon is the fourth. What?
Oh, they're gonna pay for that. Wait, not with their life? Flashing over the wall? Gonna survive? Incredible plays right there. It looked like an absolute disaster right there for Confetti. They were gonna lose themselves out onto that Drake. Mimic, do you dive here? You dive here, surely.
No.
Oh, he gets the kill! This game is nuts.
Take a breath, and now Nico trying to clear a ward. Amaryllis able to pop the egg, and the final spark will just annihilate the Frost Phoenix. As Napalm, another solo kill in this top lane.
And this top lane has turned into a complete bloodbath. So has the mid lane. Multiple kills onto all of these guys. And just the aggression, actually, can I just say, out of Pippin Pigeon, to just step up there. Knew that he was dead because Mimic was on the way down, and just go for the dive anyway. Pick themselves up a kill, at least turn it into a 1-for-1. And we are once again in a situation where, you know, you are waiting for your Briar to be able to carry the game through. Mouse is also in an okay spot. Hasn't died, not down on CS.
Ooh, just there goes Mouse.
Cast a curse. Yep, Mouse is gonna die. Briar ult just gonna fly through. Not gonna land either.
Game is starting to really run out of the Buccaneers' hands. 4,000, nearly 4,500 gold down at this point in the game. And Napalm showing no signs of slowing down. The set is so strong at this point. The flash into the ignite. There's the showstopper. In comes the haymaker, and Despair dies again. What looked so good felt so bad. And now Pippin looking onto Mimic again. A good sidestep onto the death sentence means Mimic just has to walk away. Losing half of their health is forfeit. And GBC misses Lewis Blade. Looking up towards Napalm. They're in a 1v2. The stun lands, but the facebreaker should be there. And there's the knockback. Does manage to knock one into the wall.
Going
the
wrong way.
1 versus 2. You have no way of getting out. A good flash into the brush will stop the vision from going through. But now there's no real way out as Napalm picks up their 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, this set is absolutely huge. It's not even going for a full aggressive build either. You know, you can see got the Kindle Gem. Just going to go for a more bruiser type build. Not getting too aggressive with it. I like that. I like the restraint. The Luden's already finished on Amaryllis, and that turns into 1 dead Anivia. That's now 4 kills. Onto the Anivia again. Turret plating falling too. This gold lead ballooning out of control. It's about 6,000 gold at this point, which for less than 10 minutes into the game is huge. another objective 2 going to be the Rift Herald going over to Confetti Arrows, and they're making an absolute statement in this game.
They absolutely are. They're saying no Buccaneer can stop us. Malbs now looking for something, but gets caught by Amaryllis's light binding, and the poly goes through as well. The culling is slightly wide, and now Pippin firing, opening fire, and down goes Mimic.
See, potential gank up into the top lane. Cosmic Despair going to be dashing away. Flash forwards out of Napalm. I can't quite go forwards, though.
Nearly. Oh, so nearly. And I would love
Herald too to add insult to injury up there as Nico needs to run there, bud. Flash.
Flap your wings as fast as you can, and now Despair looking for the 1v2. The showstopper
Oh, the combo!
Will just end it there. Oh. But Lewis dies.
That's a pretty big kill right there. Not going to be the shutdown, unfortunately. You would prefer to get that kill onto Napalm. 7,000 gold shutdown sat on his head, but still. 700 gold of extra. That's fair, though. 1,000 gold. Oh, it's landing!
The Roll lands, and now Napalm stuck between a rock and a hard place. There comes GBC, fully stacked and ready to murder. Napalm does have Haymaker available, but it was dodged away from by GBC.
Dodge.
Very nicely done. A good shutdown goes across to this Briar, and it's 1,000 gold into the back pocket.
Yeah, like you said, 1,000 gold on that shutdown. Big going on to the main carry, the only person right now on the Buccaneers who seems to be able to actually get things done in this game, in a position to carry, hopefully. And he's gonna be able to pick that one up. 1,000 gold shutdown is huge. That's not what you want to give over. And there are a ton more shutdowns still available.
Oh, good lord, the health.
Oh. Nico can't step up. They're on 22 CS.
Poor guy has been bullied left, right, and center. GBC now looking on Amaryllis. No mana on this Lux. As there comes the stun, and now it is just Walk City. The flash is up and available. Is used to get to safety. No real way to follow.
I really like that play. Did not decide.
Pippin has found Malbs. And that's a dead Lucian if I've ever seen one. Maybe not a good flay. Stops the expunge coming through. You just need to wait for it to... Never mind the flash. Oh, living. Death sentence lands, and Mimic is doing God's work.
Whoa.
And it's a shutdown onto Pippin. Meanwhile, Confetti Arrows looking for this dragon. GBC has been caught, but Nico is there to back them up. Lewis Blade going forwards, finding who they want. GBC will go down. Nico still has Egg, but very close to falling. And now Napalm destroying first tower of the game, running Despair into their own jungle. Max, can you break down anything we've just seen?
So, these plays are just indicative of the fact that right now Lewis is better at roaming around the map and getting involved in these fights, adding support onto his carriers, and then the carriers individually are stepping up for themselves as well. There have been some really good attempts at plays. I think Nico should be able to walk out of that one. Oh.
Fire went wide.
It did indeed. And the Drake does go over right now to Confetti. There's been some really good plays out of GBC, and Mimic in that bot lane. The flay was huge to be able to get the stop onto the aggression, but that's just Pippin, I think, getting a little bit too aggressive. Stepping forwards, the Lulu was nowhere to be seen. Gonna go for it again. Don't get caught by the hook this time.
Malb's able to fire away. Mimic does have to flash away. Mid lane, Amaryllis, a little bit low. But a good combo lands onto Despair, and they're dead. GBC now looking for Amaryllis. Might be able to find them, but the taunt forces them to switch targets, and Mimic falls in the bot lane as well. The light binding goes a little bit wide, but Napalm on a warpath towards the Briar here.
Yeah, got that Gork Drinker completed. Just going to be so tanky, doing so much damage. Albs is going to have to just run away. This turret bot lane is going to be so low. And I would like to say that we are pre-14 minutes still. That top lane turret fully went down. Nico, I don't know if he adds too much to this team fight right now, unfortunately. Napalm's going to have a huge haymaker.
Boom goes one, and down goes the other in a 1v2. Napalm pulls the fight forwards.
That haymaker was always going to be huge. I'm sorry. Sakura, are you trying to get a 1v2 right now? That's what it feels like. Turret plating finally does stop, and it was full turret plating.
Oh
in the
my...
top
No,
lane.
it missed!
Oh, missed! Oh, that's devastating.
The death sentence lands, but Pippin's here, and the culling goes through. Sakura is living. Malbs is dead. Mimic next on the chopping block. The Briar ult goes completely wide. Despair now looking for the bot lane. of confetti arrows. The death sentence goes wide. The exhaust comes down. Sakura, fine for now, gets stunned up, gets knocked up, still sitting at a third health. There comes the knock up from the Wild Growth. Polymorph, one is dead, and Cosmic lives. Pippin now on a 1 versus 3. Lewis Blade here to cover. GBC trying everything they can, but the knock up doesn't land onto Pippin, and this Twitch is still free firing. There comes the fear, and that is one dead vampire as Thresh looking to step up. Mimic trying to do something, anything. Lewis Blade looking for something. Death sentence comes in, but in comes the showstopper, and it's another dead. Malbs has died and respawned and come again and looks to die again. Lewis Blade and Napalm running this game. Amaryllis getting a second top lane tower. Confetti is flying for the confetti arrows.
Oh yeah, I mean, Amaryllis is not interested in playing this game anymore, just looking to take turrets whilst that absolute bloodbath happened in the bot lane. There was enough time for Malbs to die, respawn, and die again. Amaryllis gonna get chased down right here. Good.
Oh, it misses!
Oh, it misses!
That's so unfortunate, and there's the flash from Despair.
Dead, but...
They will die, but...
Not quite. Still gonna go down. That's a good pick. 5 kills right now. Sat right on GBC. They're in a really strong position, but the siege is now happening onto these tier 2 turrets. Good kill. Bot lane. Okay.
Yep, okay. That's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane, but why is this siege mid lane so important for confetti arrows right now? How does it stop the Buccaneers from being able to play the game? And I'm going to hold that thought, because GBC now jumping into a 1 versus 3, trying to kill Lewis Blade. The polymorph comes forwards. The knockback lands onto Napalm, but Lewis still able to run them down. There's another kill going to this hack room. Back to the question. But never mind, there's a TP. Okay.
Amaryllis is TPing in order to get more mid lane priority.
Yep.
If this hands onto Nico, they're just dead.
Dead. Oh.
Wow.
Maybe not.
I was surprised that didn't land, but to be fair, it was only stun and ult. There was no...
Lucent singularity to be seen.
Yeah. So you really want to pick yourself up that mid lane tier 2 turret, because it opens up the map. You can really roam around so much more effectively, and more than anything, a mid lane tier 2 turret gives you such good control over your enemy's jungle. You can steal away all of those camps, and your jungler specifically, but the whole team really, begins to just be starved out of gold. You just have so much less access to gold on the map. Brian going to be caught right here, and great knockback. Isn't going to matter, unfortunately, not when you are this far ahead. It's going to be 2 quick kills right here for Confetti. They can turn that into a big siege onto the turret. I nearly said Baron, but we're only 17 minutes in.
And this could very well be game. We are sitting at a 16,000 gold lead. If the Buccaneers somehow come back from this, it'll be a minor miracle. Sieging onto this inhibitor. Despair, the only person still in the base, looking to defend. Level 8 on this Lulu. That's how long we've been in this game. And the first Nexus tower is looking to fall. GBC finds Napalm. The health is going low, but the Haymaker comes through, doesn't land on anybody. The knockbacks land, and Napalm goes down. GBC gets 1, but in the meantime, 3 are dead. The Twitch is free-firing, and Mimic will go down as well. It is Despair versus the world as their base falls to tatters.
Oh boy, you said minor miracle. I think it would be a major miracle to come back into this one. Pippin is going to step up right against a Riven. That doesn't always end well, indeed. Doesn't end well for him. Double kill right there for Cosmic Despair. Going to chase onto Amaryllis. Has no mana. Manages to dodge onto that light binding as well. Do you have any more dashes as Cosmic Despair?
Not anymore.
Not quite. Not quite. Just going to run out of steam, unfortunately. Amaryllis is just got to auto attack.
No way.
No way. Actually, no way.
No mana. No mana or anything.
Lewis, you going to help here? Lewis over the wall.
There we go. Oh my god, goes the Lucian. And now GBC is fighting Lewis Blade. It's a matter of who can heal more. The knockback doesn't land, and the taunt has been cleansed. And now it's a speed bonus. The healing comes through. The stun lands, but it's not enough.
Oh, the healing on both of those champions is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that there is... Let me just check my facts here, but I'm pretty sure no anti-heal on anybody in this game is... interesting. I really like that, as this may well be the final push for Confetti.
Mimic flays everybody away, but there is the first engage. The Wild Growth comes onto Lewis. Mimic can't quite find the death sentence. Malbs takes a haymaker to the face and down goes half the health. That's 2 low health carries left. As the Briar ult lands onto Napalm, but it's not enough, and Pippin has killed Nico already. GBC now right in the back line. It's a double kill for the Twitch. It's a double kill, and 3 are dead as Riven Cosmic Despair. And Malbs, the only people standing between this game. The Haymaker comes through, and down goes Despair's health bar. That's one dead. Malbs is the next to fall, and the Herald is killing the Nexus. And it's a dancing Shelly to end the game out as confetti arrows dominate the Buccaneers in very swift fashion.
Yeah, under 20 minutes game on that one, we're going to have a dancing Rift Herald. Not something that you see very often, especially in competitive play. Oh, that was fun. That was really fun. We said that there was potential for individual carry matchups. I will admit it, I hyped up the wrong side of this matchup. Riven should win out in that 1v1, but nah. It was really, really impressive play out of set, and they deserved it. Confetti deserved that win.
It was a very nicely done win indeed, and honestly, I'm impressed. I was not expecting that game to go that well, that quickly. I thought we'd see, a bit of a longer game, bit of a fist fight for a little bit longer, but the players played well, and we can, I'll hold my hands up. They've proved me wrong. Well played to the Confetti Arrows.
And also, well played to the Buccaneers. You get the feeling in this one that maybe there was a little bit of a gap in skill, which can happen in these college tournaments. I mean, I know in university esports, sometimes people just get demolished. And, you're not recruiting the best of the best. It's whoever goes to your...
end of that.
It's just going to be whoever is part of your institution playing along. So congratulations to all of them for playing. And there were some really good performances. That Briar performance for the first competitive Briar that I've seen, that was fun. In a slightly more even game, that could well have been the difference maker.
It absolutely could have. It was a very nicely opted to take fights. Sadly, everybody on the team just had a few too many kills, a little bit too fed. It was it could have been close.
Yeah.
Confetti managed to pull out a lot of leads from the early game though, and those leads are so important, especially in a game like this where you're already gonna outscale if you get to 35-40 minutes. If you can get these leads early game, you scale so much faster. It was very nicely done to be able to capitalize on what we saw. And let's just take a little quick look at the damage numbers. 22,000 damage coming out of that Twitch.
That's insane, and that's what you get when actually Pippin was in 1v2s the whole time, basically. There was some really nice roaming out of Sakura, which I like. I like a roaming Lulu getting involved elsewhere, but usually when you see that, it's paired up with something like an Ezreal, maybe like a Twitch, to roam with it, but nah. That was not a roaming Twitch. That was a Twitch who just sat in the bot lane and dealt damage.
Sakura MVP for stealing first Drake.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. That steal was incredibly impressive. It turned what could have been a really good play for the Buccaneers into an absolute disaster.
And they got out with their life as well, so it was actually, I think they ended up getting one kill in favor of the Dragon. And you take that early in as a team that's happy to sit and scale.
Absolutely.
So, that was a good game. I think I've learned a lot anyway. Don't give any of these champions leads, it's terrifying. However, that was the only game we had for you today, people. I'm sorry. We wanted to bring you more. We couldn't. Congratulations once again to the Confetti Arrows, and commiserations to the Blackbird Lades Buccaneers. And it was a good game. I hope everybody did enjoy and had some fun watching that one. I have been Chica. I have been joined by Black Bloxer. This has been the British Esports Student Champs Nationals. And we'll look to see you in the near future.